Hello and Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to CxO Global Forum. As you all know, that CxO Global Forum is a knowledge sharing platform. We are a organization that bridge different organizations into greater exposure for into their respective industries. Today we have very respectable guest who's also one of our member, Miss Maliha Farooq Ismail. Assalamu alaikum Maliha, कैसी हैं आप?
सलामकुम सिद्रा, मैं बिल्कुल ठीक हूँ। आप कैसी हैं?
मैं भी ठीक हूँ। थैंक यू सो मच फॉर योर टाइम मलिहा। मलिहा, आपसे सुनना चाहेंगे आपकी जर्नी, करियर की, योर करंट पोजीशन एंड एवरीथिंग। तो सबसे पहले आपकी एजुकेशनल जर्नी से स्टार्ट करेंगे। इफ यू वांट टू शेयर अबाउट योर एजुकेशन एंड योर बैकग्राउंड।
So, Sidra, I'm going to keep it really short क्योंकि इंटरव्यूज के अंदर ना एक्चुअली यू इट टेक्स मी बैक टू, क्योंकि अब इतना टाइम हो गया इनटू एजुकेशन कहाँ से स्टार्ट की थी. सो माय फर्स्ट फॉर्मल डिग्री हैज बीन फ्रॉम Zabist. I am an MBA in finance and marketing. After that I went on and I joined ABN AMRO. उस जमाने में ABN AMRO was the first foreign bank to launch a credit card. So मैंने उनकी
ओके।
marketing की. Then I moved on to do the same for MCB, who was the last entrant in those times to launch a card. So पहला first foreign bank and secondly last foreign bank. So that was something. After MCB, I got married and I left the country for 8.5 years. And I came back. Unfortunately, I got divorced and I lost custody of my son, so I came back. But after that, I joined Reuters as the head of marketing and strategy across 6 countries, which was Maldives, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, India. So I was doing a very strategic क्रॉस कंट्री रोल ओवर देयर. बट मुझे थोड़ी देर में एहसास हो गया था. आई अंडरस्टूड दैट मार्केटिंग हैड इवॉल्व्ड in those 8 years that I had been out of the field. So then I pursued another master's with the Warwick Business School, which was an MSc in marketing and strategy. After that, once I came back, I joined HBL. I was with HBL for 3 years. I was looking after all the digital platforms, that is social media, website, all the digital plus, touch points. Uske baad I went to Cornell, and then I did my digital marketing from there, because marketing के अंदर फिर एक बहुत, अगर आपको आप आज हमें अब पता चल गया है that conventional and digital is very different. So I wanted to learn that as well, big data analytics and all that. So I went to Cornell and I did that. उसके बाद जो है I joined TPL Life Insurance as head of marketing, and then I moved on to Dolman Group, where I was head of marketing and communications for the entire group. And now, as very rightly mentioned, I am looking after the American Business Council as their Secretary General.
दैट्स वेरी नाइस एंड वेरी इंस्पायरिंग ऑल्सो। अच्छा मलिहा, आपने अपनी जर्नी शेयर की, करियर भी एंड एजुकेशनल भी। अभी मेरा सवाल है कि हम जब भी अपने करियर में होते हैं या जॉब्स में होते हैं, वी ऑलवेज हैव दैट वन रोल मॉडल और इंस्पिरेशन दैट कीप अस गोइंग, राइट? इफ वी लुक अप टू समवन तो हमें होता है कि वी कीप आवर लाइफ सेट या गोल्स हमारे सेट रहते हैं। तो यू हैड एनी इंस्पिरेशन इन योर लाइफ इफ यू वांट टू शेयर विद अस?
Absolutely, Sidra. I think I found an inspiration in life very late, as in my work life very late. And it was obviously, जब आप अपने इंस्पिरेशन की बात करते हैं, everybody that you meet and every person that you work with has an impact on your professional personality. So you can't, whether good or bad, I'm not getting into that. But when you talk about inspiration, we usually take inspiration to be very positive. बट इंस्पिरेशन कभी कभी एक नेगेटिव चीज से भी शुरू होता है. And there was one boss that I worked with, and I realized very early that unka way of handling things was very different than mine. But and when you start working with somebody like that, you realize कि यार अगर temperament नहीं मिल रहे हैं तो you're constantly in a conflict. But that conflict teaches you a lot of things, because you tend to see how the other person is operating. You tend to become very how should I put it, you tend to become open to the other person's temperament, their viewpoints and all. So there was one person that I'd worked with in the capacity of a marketing director, and I learned a lot from him. I learned how to handle stress, and I also learned how you can excel in pressure, because earlier, people I had worked with was a very comfortable relationship. So obviously,
Okay.
you feel that they're an inspiration with the way they write or an inspiration with the way they talk. But these are certain things that you pick up subconsciously. And the
Mm,
reason why I'm saying that this is an inspiration is because I never realized that this painful process of getting to know that person and being able to work with him will subconsciously treat me a lot of things. And now obviously we meet each other, and I've realized, and I tell him that day, that I've become exactly like him with my team,
mm,
because there are some people who push your boundaries. So when they do that, you feel very uncomfortable, but at the end of the day you realize that they've actually harnessed your full potential. So
mm,
that is something that I learned from that boss, and he's going to remain an inspiration, because every time some challenge or some pressing problem comes, I instantly go back to that time and try and figure out what I would have done had I been working with him. So I
yeah.
think that is definitely an inspiration. I don't know whether he'll be comfortable with me taking his name, but yes, there has been an inspiration. But like I
Mm.
said, everybody who I've worked with in some way or the other has inspired me for sure.
True. Obviously, Maliha, whatever you said, I totally agree to that because जब हम काम कर रहे होते हैं वो प्रेशर में we उस टाइम हमें शायद फील नहीं हो रहा होता कि how that person is giving an impact in our lives और हमारे करियर में वो किस तरह से हमें बेहतरी की तरफ ही लेके जाता है. अच्छा, मेरा अगला सवाल जो है नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज लाइक challenges since you told me कि अभी you had a gap of 8 years right in your career फिर you came back so I want to ask the challenges you faced as a woman also and as a human also कि career में क्या challenges hurdles आई फिर.
Again, Sidra, obviously, a divorce is a very painful process for any human being, whether it's a male or a female. हमारे
Hmm.
यहाँ obviously for females it becomes a lot more, especially because I lost custody of my son as well. So
Okay.
it was a very difficult period in my life. However, a personal problem होती है तो फिर आप कहते हैं कि okay fine, I'll try and look towards my career and try and make something. And I faced a lot of challenges even then, because I was returning to the job market after 8 years.
Okay.
The market had moved on. The people that I had been working with in terms of my peers and colleagues, they had moved on,
Hmm.
and my bosses had moved on. So I came to a market which was very new to me. And it was not was a job market that was welcoming me with open arms. In fact,
Hmm.
I had a major challenge because I was being offered job positions and job roles that were below the rank that I had actually left the country with. So I was even
Hmm.
offered something like an assistant manager or something, which I had
Hmm.
moved on in my career from. Even
Hmm.
in terms of a remuneration and even in terms of a leadership position. And I felt that skepticism, when people would, and the major theme of my interviews would revolve around, why do I have a gap on my CV? What were the reasons? Secondly, after an 8 year gap, and obviously after a trauma, would I
Yeah.
be able to even pick up from there, and will I be able to be suitable for a
Hmm.
leadership position? So when people talk about breaking glass ceilings, and when people talk about these things, these challenges, I think I'm a living example of someone who's come
Hmm.
back, and who's tried to sort of deal with all those challenges on a daily basis, and
Hmm.
alhamdulillah, I've come out the other side. So challenges are there. They at that time, जैसे आपने पहले भी कहा, they're very difficult, and you don't realize that they are always teaching you something. But
Hmm.
I've also been fortunate because I always had this at the back of my mind, that I have to upskill myself with my male
Hmm.
peers. I cannot be one step behind. In fact, I have to be, from an education and from an exposure point of view, probably ahead of them to even
Yeah.
reach that level. Which
Hmm.
is my message to everyone, that if in case something like this happens, uh,
Hmm.
try and understand where you can upskill yourself, and
Yeah.
where you can have a value addition to your personality.
True, true. and never give up also, right? I mean, when I'm like listening to your story or your journey, so one thing is in my mind that, never give up, right? So
Yeah.
truly you are inspiration, because I, as a young mother, I can totally understand that the trauma of, I mean, your child is behind and everything, I can totally understand. And the gap also, because when it's been 2 years, then I had a baby, and then I took a gap also. So I can totally understand whatever you are saying. अच्छा मलिहा, अभी आपकी मार्केटिंग जर्नी के बारे में बात करते हैं. व्हाट डू यू थिंक दैट स्मॉल बिजनेसेस, व्हाट मिस्टेक्स दे आर मेकिंग इन देयर मार्केटिंग, and what do you suggest them, the small businesses or businesses or startups in Pakistan? What do you suggest them? What are the mistakes they are, making in their initial stages, and why they are failing?
That's an excellent question, Sidra, and I think I'm very glad that you brought it up. I'm also a marketing consultant. Apart from my 9 to 5 job, I do
Mhm.
consultancy, and I advise brands internationally on what they're doing. This
Mhm.
is not just a problem for small businesses and startups in Pakistan. I think this is a
Mhm.
problem. This is a worldwide problem with startups and small businesses. The
Mhm.
problem is that we try to emulate big businesses,
Okay.
FMCGs, and companies that have been established. I'll give you a small example.
Mhm.
Companies have a marketing and they have a marketing function, right? Now,
Okay.
what I see in most startups is that their primary focus is not on business operations and not on customer experience, but more towards being seen. And
Yeah. Yeah.
every time you get any angel funding or whatever,
Mm.
what the basic interest is to divide that money towards marketing and to probably have some very big events where they're seen,
Yeah.
some very huge
Mm.
sponsorship, probably get a celebrity on board. And
Mhm.
what happens is that it kickstarts it really well. I can vouch for that, because
Mm.
obviously it sort of brings you to the level where you've arrived. Everybody knows you, everybody is talking about you. But jab
Mhm.
tak aapki back end processes dekhe, marketing is a support function. It will
Mm.
remain a support function. It
Mm.
cannot take the place of business operations and seamless customer experience. And
Mm.
this is a major mistake that I see brands doing, is because their entire focus remains on marketing, on
Mm.
jazzy logos, jazzy taglines, getting a celebrity on board. But what they
Mm.
really need to focus on is, are my operations seamless? Is the customer getting value? And once
Mm.
that, and I'm not saying okay, you should just forget about marketing. As a marketing person, and being in this field for 16 years, I do realize the importance of marketing. But
Yeah.
sometimes we overemphasize the importance of marketing, which sort of backfires. And this is my message to everyone, to have a very healthy balance between what exactly is your customer offering, why
Yeah.
are you even there, and how you can now pass that message across to the customer rather than the other way around.
Yeah, we have seen that there are so many businesses or brands who are, marketing their product so much, but customer is not happy. So true. They have to see all aspects of their branding and all. Thank you so much for your time and you sharing your journey with us. Last thing I have to ask, that's anything you want to share about CXO Global Forum.
Oh, I have a lot to share about CxO Global. I'm one of the founding members of CxO Global. But I am very proud of the fact that the way the forum has grown, not in terms of only the member base, but also in terms of the kind of conversations we have, the diverse mix of opinions that are there, non-critical. This is something very important to me, because sometimes people keep their opinions back for fear that they'll be looked at very critically, or they'll be judged. And I can speak from my own experience of CxO Global, Sidra. I have learned so much for other disciplines as well, whether it's IT, whether it is operations, whether it is marketing. And I feel that it's like an extended family, where you can always share what you feel. And right now, with these delegations going to Dubai, and I was there when the Guy Tech delegation happened. It was something I felt very proud because we lack this in this country. And
Hmm.
CxO has actually taken a form where, not just because of the fact that it's there and it can be seen, but also regarding the fact that it is growing. It's a growing platform. It is encouraging people to have those discussions that are value additions for everyone. And also because the kind of digital communication that CxO does, whether it is in terms of these webinars or these
Yeah.
podcasts, whether it is in terms of just having a Zoom call with each other around a topic, I think that
Right.
is very, very important. And I also feel very proud because now I hear a lot of people inquiring about CxO Global from me as well, asking me
Mhm.
what the forum does. And just they also understanding the value that it adds, professionally and personally, both from a networking point of view and also from a point of view of just making some very good lasting friendships.
Hmm. True, true. Thank you, Maliha, for your time, and it was lovely talking to you and lovely listening to your journey. And I hope that whoever is watching right now, they must learn something from our discussion and whatever we discussed. So thank you so much, everyone who is watching, and thank you to Maliha. And इसी के साथ ही हमारी conversation end होती है. So Allah Hafiz, everyone,
Thank you, Sidra. Thank you.
and Allah Hafiz. Okay.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.